Tunde took Zara out to do a complete makeover. Even the younger girls in the town were jealous of Zara. He quickly hid the bag of medicine he was holding. Zara, a sad, lonely lady, looks from her window as it pours outside. She watches the droplets of rain drizzle down her window. She is thinking about the lonely life she has lived and if ever she will find true love. Is it not too late, she thought. No one would love me now that I am no longer in my prime. These were her thoughts before going to bed that night. Zara was a very lonely 50-year-old woman who was never married or asked out by anyone in her life. As she grew older, she consumed herself with work to deal with her loneliness and only smiled on the days she does her hobby of going to feed the old people in a nursing home. One fateful day, as she was leaving the nursing home, it was raining outside. She did not have an umbrella, so she was drenched in the rain. But an unknown young man calls to her from behind. He covers her with the umbrella. She is surprised to meet the stranger. It is already late, so he offers to take her to his house not too far away. A lady of my age to follow you to your house. Is that not inappropriate? Zara asked. No, ma'am. You do not have an umbrella, and I'm sure your place is still very far away, he said. Please accept my kind gesture. I mean no harm. I have been a frequent of this place for a while, and I always watched you come to give food to the old people here. I've always wanted to meet such a kind-hearted woman like you in person. So please, allow me to do this one kind thing for you. I can make you a cup of warm tea when we get to my house, he said. And Zara, the old lady, agreed to follow the stranger to his house. When they got there, it was a comfy, luxurious house he had. It was still raining outside. He offered her the cup of tea and praised her for her kind heart, telling her that he admired her generosity. Smiling, she said, "No one has ever been this nice to me." They talked and laughed together for hours. Then later that night, she fell asleep on the couch while the young man slept on the floor. Zara returns to her house the next day. Her days are filled with thoughts of the new stranger she just met. Right as she is thinking about him, he calls her on the phone. They talked for hours. He would tell her how much she was a role model to him because of her kindness and dedication to the old people. He was inspired by her and wishes to be like her. He would rain praises and compliments on her daily. It became a daily routine between both of them. Few weeks later, Zara began to notice she had started becoming attached to this new guy, as she found herself waiting for his call to brighten up her day and make her feel good about herself. The young guy's name was Tunde. He was a 25-year-old wealthy young man who was a model for different designer brands. He was an orphan who lost his parents at a tender age and had to build his empire alone, hustling for himself. But luckily, his good looks got him very far and he made it big quickly in the modeling business. He had narrated all this about himself to Zara on the phone on their long calls, but as Zara sat in her house that day, lost in her thoughts about her new addiction to these calls, a fear crept into her heart. What if she had fallen in love with this young guy? There was no way he would love a woman like her. He was only inspired by her. He had never told her that he loved her. Her heart was once again setting her up for another heartbreak, but a very fatal one. Her thoughts are interrupted by a knock on her front door. She opens the door only to receive flowers that had been sent by Tunde. The next day, he sends her money to go on a shopping spree. No man had ever been that good to her in her lifetime. Filled with joy, she bought some new clothes and went back home. Deep inside her heart, she wished that the young guy was truly in love with her. But still, she knew that was impossible. A taboo even. And beat herself up for allowing herself harbor such ill thoughts, knowing the age difference between the both of them. Then one day, Tunde called again as usual, and this time he asked her out, telling her to do him the honor of being his girlfriend. Zara was shocked hearing this from Tunde. She told him she didn't believe it was possible that he had true feelings for a woman of her age and caliber. But Tunde told her the reason he had been single was because growing up, he always had a thing for older women and wasn't into girls of his age range. He found them annoying and was looking for a woman with a mature mind that could inspire him to be a better version of himself. Zara was overwhelmed and told him she would think about it. The next day, she went to her friend to seek advice. She narrated all about her new experience with Tunde to her friend. Her friend asked her what if he has an ulterior motive, but she told her she wasn't rich, else she would have thought he was coming for her money. It had to be true love. Her friend told her the idea still did not feel right with her and warned her friend Zara to be careful and tread carefully on the path of love. People will only talk, but my happiness should be the most important thing. I am not getting any younger, my friend. If I lose this opportunity, it may be my last to ever be loved by a man. Maybe God has finally heard my prayers so that I don't end up dying alone. Zara went home and accepted Tunde's proposal. Tunde was overjoyed to hear this. They began dating. Tunde took Zara out to do a complete makeover. As the hairdressers made her hair, Tunde, the proud boyfriend, sat behind her, smiling and watching as they made his new woman's hair. When they were done with the makeover, Zara became a completely new person, almost unrecognizable. It was evident to her that her life had been touched by the hand of love. Her dressing, her aura, everything about Zara began to radiate with light and beauty, to the point even the younger girls in the town were jealous of Zara and the love she had with the handsome young rich man. Not caring about the gossips around her, Zara continued to enjoy the blessings of being in love. One fateful day, as Zara paid her boyfriend a visit unannounced, as she was coming in, she saw a man she had never seen before. He was coming out of Tunde's apartment. He greeted her, stared at her for a while, and then left. Immediately Zara came in. As Tunde saw her coming through the door, he quickly hid the bag of medicine he was holding. Zara came in without noticing it. She asked Tunde who was the guy she met at the door leaving his house. As she sat down, Tunde immediately lashed out at her. Is it everyone in my life you must know? What your concern should be is the fact that a guy like me is loving a woman like you, he said. Zara felt a feeling of shame shimmer through her spine. Unable to look Tunde in his eyes after he said this, she replied saying, "Oh, I am sorry." Tunde, realizing himself that he had made her feel bad, came to sit next to her. Holding her hand, he said, "I want you to focus only on our love, what we have, and the future we would build together." Zara felt consoled by him, promising not to pry into his private matters again. They slept together that night, and the very next day, Tunde asked her to marry him. Zara felt like it was all a dream. Before Tunde could finish his sentence, she screamed, "Yes!" Tunde told her the only clause in their marriage would be that they would have separate rooms. Zara asked why. He said he likes to maintain his privacy more than anything else. Zara was too overjoyed in that moment to think things through, and she agreed. They had a small private wedding to avoid the entire town gossiping about them. Soon, the marriage days of Zara and Tunde began. But 2 days after their wedding, Zara was hit with the awful news that her young husband Tunde suffered from a kidney failure. He was admitted immediately at the hospital. Zara spent what would have been a honeymoon sleeping on the same hospital bed with Tunde. When she goes back home, she spends the entire night praying for God to heal her husband. She would not leave her husband's side. Nothing could have shattered her dreams more than this devastating news Tunde had gotten from the doctor. A few days later, the doctor informed Zara that Tunde would not make it. A transplant was needed urgently for him, else they would lose him. Devastated by this news, Zara told the doctor to find a donor as soon as possible, as they had the money to pay. After 2 days of an unproductive search for a donor, the doctor suggested to Zara to conduct a test to see if she could be a donor herself. The test was successful and she could donate her kidney. Desperate to save her husband's life, she agreed to the doctor's arrangements and became a donor for Tunde. Tunde apologized to his wife for the pain and discomfort he was causing her. "This is not the life I promised you on the altar," he told her. "I am sorry, my love." "Don't say such things, Tunde. I will never regret meeting you. You are the best thing that ever happened to me, and I am not going to lose you." They performed the transplant the next day. After the surgery, Zara was told by the doctor that she had to urinate through a pipe until her body healed from the surgery. A few days after the surgery, the doctor came back to tell Zara that unfortunately, Tunde did not survive the surgery and he died. Zara could not hold herself. She screamed to the doctors, "He cannot be dead. Let me see my husband." But the doctors said his body was in a terrible state. They would not let her see him. And so, Zara returned to her matrimonial home without a husband and with a missing kidney. Soon, it was the burial day for Tunde. Zara looked at the body of her now deceased husband for the last time. At a distance from the funeral, Tunde is wearing a dark shade, staring at the people burying him. He looks alive as ever, looking nothing like a dead person. That was because he was not truly dead. He walks away a few minutes later. The body Zara was looking at and crying over that was inside the coffin was nothing but a cloned image of Tunde. Tunde was not dead. He faked his own death and connived with the doctors to make Zara release one of her kidneys. Tunde was set to travel back to the States, where he actually truly resided. After the funeral, Zara is left alone in the big house she and Tunde were supposed to live in together. 1 month later, she decided to clean the entire house and get rid of all Tunde's things. When she entered Tunde's room and went to his wardrobe, she remembered how Tunde once screamed at her the last time he saw her going close to his wardrobe. She had wanted to take out his clothes to be washed. He warned her to never go near his things, as he always wanted his things private and she was infringing on his privacy. Zara cried to herself, saying, "Tunde, you are not here to stop me from touching your things anymore." But as she took out his clothes, she noticed something in the wall behind the wardrobe. She decides to move the closet away, and there, before her eyes, was a red button on a small vault on the patched wall behind the wardrobe. In fear, she presses the button and she finds some tapes and drugs. These were drugs taken by someone who had a kidney problem. She goes back to her bed to play the tape. It was a video confession of Tunde. On the video, Tunde was talking to the man she had seen leaving Tunde's house some months ago. On the tape, Tunde was in a state of panic. He is discussing with the other guy, telling him that he needed an urgent transplant and the doctor advised him to find someone of age who had not too much time still to live. Someone in their 50s or 60s who would be willing to donate their kidney to him. It turns out that Tunde came from a very rich home but had a kidney failure at a tender age. The first transplant he did only lasted him for about 20 years and it needed to be replaced. He was unable to find a willing young donor again, so his doctor advised him to find someone older. As he failed terribly and his time was ticking, he devised a plan to get someone with a kind heart and make the person fall in love with him so much that the person would be willing to give him their kidney if he asked for it. That was when he sent his friend to look for such a person. His friend found a number of women in their 50s. He had been keeping tabs on Zara and others, following her and gathering all the information needed about Zara and the other women he had found. When they got the full details of Zara's life, she was picked as an easy target, and that was how Tunde positioned himself at the nursing house where Zara used to go to feed the old people and plunged himself into her life just to get her kidney. The video ended with Tunde speaking to Zara from the screen of the TV. "Zara, if you are watching this, that means that my surgery was successful. I am about to leave for the States and you have found this video. I want to thank you for the sacrifice you made for me and for your unconditional love. I am truly sorry it had to end this way. I pray that as you move on with your life, you live a long and healthy life. I am leaving the house to you as my little compensation for your gift. If we ever meet again on the other side, then you can place all your judgment upon me. But for now, I must live and survive. I wish you a great life. Goodbye, Zara." Zara almost had an heart attack after watching this. Meanwhile, Tunde was at the airport getting his ticket for his flight that was about to leave. He had waited 1 month in a secret hotel to recuperate and recover from the surgery before he is fit to take his flight. Zara checked the dates and knew Tunde would probably be at the airport that same day. She ran to a taxi. "Hurry up, driver," she screamed as she urged the driver to drive faster to the airport. But before Zara would get to the airport, the last flight had set sail. Zara watched as her kidney was carried on the air on a plane. She cried and cried, almost bawling out her eyes as she was returning back home to end it all. She felt a little sick. She was about to throw up, so she ran to the restroom in the airport and threw up. In that moment, Zara realized that she was pregnant. As she watched her reflection in the mirror, Zara knew that her real battles had only just begun. The lesson to be learned from this story is that we should never be too desperate for love to the point that we do not identify the red flags in the people that come into our lives. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like, share and subscribe for more, and I'll see you on our next story.